Hey, it's Darium. Just giving you a quick run through the Star Trek beta. Right now, we are in a zone, a space, a planet. The controls are a lot like Star Trek Legacy, uh, and a lot less like Bridge Commander. You can go up and down. There is a large 3D space or up and down, but you're limited to a tilt. Um, what you're seeing now is me interacting with an object. All objects in the game you can interact on F, and you can do different things like F to transport, or F to scan, or F to tractor beam. I just scanned the area right now to see if any more of those anomalies are there. Those anomalies are what give you your materials for using the replicator, and you use the replicator to create objects. So it's pretty good. You got my phaser arcs. Hovering over each phaser tells you the phaser arc. So the normal range for weapons is about 10 units away. So you get pretty up close and personal. It's by photon torpedoes. One thing you may notice is that photon torpedoes, they have an infinite complement. I guess to make it easier to play. You have infinite torpedoes. And see my shield reticle, my warp, or not the full impulse button is through the double arrow right on top of the ship speed. You got crew. The more damage you take in your hull, the more crew you lose, and the less effective your things are going to be. And you get different power settings. You see there right next to the, or right on top of the power relays, you see there. You can ask me more about it later. Basically, you got phasers, engines, and shields. The more power you have in engines, phasers, shields, the more better they will respectively do. But then you got something called an auxiliary power, which does a whole bunch of different crap that I'll explain later. Right now, here is the ground combat part. In this particular mission, there is no ground combat. This is a diplomatic mission where you're sent down to try to defuse a situation. But see, I have my ground crew. I guess I'm a science officer. Yes, I'm a man. Deal with it. Science officers are really good at healing. Right, I'm just showing you different things. The different weapons you equip actually have different abilities. So, like, my phaser has a stun setting as its secondary ability, but this rifle that we're holding right now has a sniper ability. So it's pretty crazy stuff. You can pause the game. That's what's really cool. In ground combat, you can pause it. You have 45 seconds to pause it, and then you can unpause it, and then the seconds build up over time. Right now, I'm just going through a lot of random crap. Trying to talk to leaders and stuff. Trying to figure out what the problem is. Going back to the auxiliary power. The auxiliary power is important in space combat because it also determines how fast your engines are going to turn around. How you can about face. You take power away from auxiliary, and it's going to take forever for you to turn, which is critical in trying to keep your shields rotated with damage. I have to say this is the most boring part here. I'm sorry to say. I'll have to cut in later with some ground combat if I encounter it. I'm still learning the game. Still trying to figure out what exactly I'm supposed to be doing. And we're jumping to space combat here. Space combat is awesome. It's slow, it's tactical, it's badass. I'm actually with a group of people right now. Some of the missions in the game automatically group you with people, which is pretty nifty. The object of space combat is to drain down their shields with your phasers and finish them up with photon torpedoes. The torpedoes are fucking, like, they destroy the hull, but they can't really. But you have to get past the shields first. So they're really powerful. Another cool thing is that, like MechWarrior, the warp cores breach every single time you destroy a ship. So there is a significant explosion close by to each dying ship. So what ends up happening is that if your shields are down and this that ship goes critical and goes reactor, you could take substantial damage, much like a torpedo hit. It's devastating. It's devastating. But if you have your shields up, you'll just take small shield hits. So one thing you may notice down there is the red, blue, and yellow little icons. Those are my bridge officers. Each bridge officer is kind of like interchangeable skill that grow with you. It's possible that you can have the same bridge officer from the very beginning of the game all the way to the end if you end up liking that bridge officer, but you can level them up, you can sell them, trade them. They're pretty cool. They're just like party members, but they each do a special thing in space, and they each do a special thing in the ground. But I'm getting pretty raped here by these Orions. I kind of bit off more than I can chew. I think you saw me frantically change from assault to defense. Defense, the little P, get my shields back. And here we are in the sector map. Sector map is pretty cool. It represents what happens to you when you're in warp. Obviously, you are shown the different planets, different systems. You have full control where you want to go. But what I just showed you up there is that little menu box. If you double click on a system and that you want to go to, it'll automatically take you to the system, so you're not running around. It's pretty neat. There are random encounters in space. There is fighting. This is another boring part. It's just me going to the Sol system and then leveling up my abilities. Your abilities are different for each, like the tactical, engineering, and science officer. And I chose science. So here I am choosing my abilities. I'm gonna max this one out. So you max it out. I'm gonna put some more points in this one. And what turns out is that something I learned is that if you put points into something, you eventually get a skill. And I get the evasive maneuver skills. Took us a couple seconds here, and I get. And Mr. Sulu's like, "Hey man, you're right." Oh yeah, by the way, Sulu's great. Your grandson is helping you out. Not great grandson, just grandson. And this is going to conclude it. Tell me what you think.